Today, we're going to take a look at 10 unpopular pixel art games on the Nintendo Switch that will surely captivate your eyes. Pixel art has become the main focus of indie game developers, and Nintendo Switch has some amazing titles to choose from. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First on our list is Curse to Golf. In this golf game, players take on approximately 70 levels that form themed biomes filled with obstacles. The game includes optional curse holes that may handicap players and boss battles at the end of each biome. The player has access to 3 clubs, and aim each shot by timing button presses to select power and direction. The player can redo a shot's power during this time and gain more shots by smashing gold and silver statues. The game also includes single-use ace cards received after defeating cursed levels or purchased from shops that provide temporary upgrades or abilities. The game is considered part of the roguelike genre due to its permanent death mechanic, randomness arising from the variety of holes, and rewards from defeating bosses. Next is The Last Spell. The Last Spell is a tactical role-playing game where players control a small group of heroes defending a town against hordes of undead. The game features an asymmetric tactical imbalance as players start with only 3 heroes but must fight against hundreds of enemies. Each town has a unique map, and players can choose a limited number of omens to modify their play experience. During the day phase, players can spend resources to prepare for the night phase, where they engage in turn-based battles with the undead. Each consecutive night phase features more undead enemies than the last, and at the end of a town map, there is a climactic boss battle. The game also features a progressive meta-game where players can earn currency to unlock new rewards. Moving on to Moonscars. Moonscars is a 2D platform game with Souls-like elements. Players control Grey Irma, a warrior made of clay and bone, who must find her maker, the sculptor, by fighting through a world inhabited by creatures made of clay. Irma can use her broadsword to defeat enemies, dodge or parry enemy attacks, and use Ichor to regain hit points or attack with magical abilities. Each time Irma dies, she is resurrected at the last checkpoint and the power of enemies increases. Players can reduce the game's difficulty by acquiring glands from slaying monsters. Next up, Everhood. Everhood is an adventure RPG with a battle system based on a rhythm game, where the player moves between 5 lanes to dodge enemy attacks timed to the song's beat. Instead of hitting the enemies, the player must avoid their attacks. The player can jump or dodge at the beginning, but after acquiring Rid's stolen arm, they can absorb attacks and fire them back at the enemy. The battles initially require surviving the whole song, but later battles loop until the enemy's health is drained by deflecting their attacks. Next on our list is Blacksmith of the Sand Kingdom. In this fantasy RPG, players take on the role of Volker, the son of a blacksmith who dreams of becoming an adventurer and a court blacksmith. Set in the desert and wilderness of Muspelheim, players explore dungeons, gather materials by looting and defeating monsters, and craft high-quality equipment. With 14 classes, faith selection, and passive skills, players have a lot of character customization options. By fulfilling requests and progressing through the story, players can earn rewards and find other party members at the guild. Moving on to Kraino Origins. Kraino Origins is a retro-style action platformer game where players control Kraino, a force of good created to aid the forces of evil. The game is set in a world full of monsters, ghosts, and skeletons, and Kraino fights against evil lords to get his revenge on his maker. Players use Kraino's mighty scythe to defeat enemies and avoid obstacles such as saws, fireballs, acid pools, and spikes. The game features 8 huge levels, bosses, collectibles, and powerful weapons to upgrade magic and health. Moving on to Souldiers. Souldiers is a 2D action-adventure Metroidvania with Souls-like combat. The player chooses one of 3 classes, each with unique abilities and combat styles. The player can use light and heavy attacks, a dodge ability, and class-specific utility abilities. As the player progresses, they can infuse their attacks with different elements, which affect enemy damage and damage received. The game also has a skill tree unique to each class, and leveling up unlocks new abilities. The exploration is limited by the character's abilities, with new power-ups unlocking new areas. Next up, Backbone. Backbone is a story-driven game with elaborate dialogues inspired by old-school CRPGs. As Howard, a raccoon, you will explore post-noir dystopian Vancouver, make meaningful connections with a diverse cast of characters, and shape your identity through dialogue choices. The game features stunning visuals with a combination of high-resolution pixel art and 3D effects, and an evocative soundtrack with a combination of classic jazz and electronic music. The game's themes revolve around the universal pain of existence and loss, as well as the desire to make a difference in a cold and uncaring world. Moving on to Tales of the Neon Sea. Tales of the Neon Sea is a retro-style pixel art adventure game set in a cyberpunk cityscape, where players take on the role of a detective investigating a murder case involving clues from a robot rebellion. The game features gripping narrative, old-school pixel art with modern atmospheric lighting, multiple achievements and collectibles, rich and varied puzzle design, and the ability to play as a special assistant black cat named William. The game also explores themes of a dystopian world where robots have the same rights as humans and blur the boundaries between flesh and machine. Last game in our catalogue is Eastwood. Eastwood is an adventure game where you join 2 unlikely characters, John and Sam, on a journey to escape a subterranean society and explore the world above. Travel on a cross-country railway, fight off unusual monsters, and solve environmental puzzles. Meet a cast of quirky characters and immerse yourself in a heartwarming story-driven adventure with fun and wacky humor. Create Eastwoodian cuisine using organic ingredients from toxic forests, infested mines, and abandoned malls to gain health bonuses and power boosts. Eastwood is by far the most gorgeous pixel art that you can ever lay your eyes on. From detailed background pixels to buttery smooth pixel animation, it is a joy to look at. That concludes our episode for the day. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get the latest game deals and updates. Thank you for tuning in. See you in the next video.